turning to our top story now as we monitor the situation within the Liberal Party in the wake of Angus Taylor's resignation. Let's bring in Liberal MP and Shadow Attorney-General Andrew Wallace. Andrew, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us on News Breakfast.
Good morning, Bridget.
Who will you be supporting today if there's a spill, or indeed if it's tomorrow?
Well, Bridget, if there is a spill, I will of course be supporting Sussan Ley. I'm the Shadow Attorney-General and all members of her Shadow Cabinet should be supporting the leader.
Why do you think everyone within the party should be throwing their support behind Sussan?
Well, I think Sussan has done a very good job in very difficult circumstances. This is off the back of two straight election defeats, and the last one of which, unfortunately, was pretty significant. So being the opposition leader in federal politics is the toughest job in the country, least of all coming off those two defeats. And look, with the two splits with the Nationals and the worst attack on Australia's soil from a terrorist perspective, there's been a lot going on, and I quite honestly believe that Sussan hasn't been afforded a reasonable opportunity to succeed, and I want to back her in and make sure that she does, so that we can continue to take the fight up to Labor.
What do you feel will be the impact of knifing a female leader, the party's first female leader? You've got a bit of work to do with Australian women. That was evident at the last election and the previous election. What sort of message do you think that would send?
Well, I think, unfortunately, knifing any leader sends a bad message. Disunity is death. Sorry, I'm just losing you there for 1 second, Bridget. We need to get our focus back on the Australian community. I'm working hard, as many of my shadow colleagues are, my shadow cabinet colleagues and ministerial colleagues. Tim Wilson was very involved and spoke very strongly yesterday in the Parliament about the CFMEU corruption that's seeing somewhere between $15 and $30 billion worth of rorts, which Australian taxpayers are paying for. So that's the sort of stuff that, unfortunately, Australians want to see their opposition take the fight up and hold the government to account, because at the moment the Prime Minister has a supermajority in the House of Representatives, and that's not good for democracy.
I just want to return to the question, though, because I think you did say last night you felt it would be unacceptable to get rid of a female leader so short into her term as leader in the party. Is that your view?
Yeah, look, I do believe that for sure. I think Sussan, of course, is our first female leader. I think it sends a bad message to Australians, but knifing any leader in these sort of circumstances, particularly after such a short period of time, we're not even 12 months into this term of Parliament, and I think that what Australians are looking for in their opposition is unity.
Andrew, what do you think has gone wrong for the party? Because the polls appear to be pretty disastrous, as Angus Taylor mentioned. Some of the worst polls seen since World War II for the party. How much responsibility does Sussan Ley have to take for the messaging, for the fact that your messaging is not getting through to the Australian public?
Well, Bridget, I think we all members of the opposition need to take collective responsibility. There's not just one person that runs the show with the coalition. The Australians have seen the coalition break up twice now in 9 months. And that sends a very unfortunate signal to them that we're not united, or we haven't been united in the past. So we've got work to do there. Australians want to see a unified opposition. Doesn't matter whether they like us or whether they don't. There's no sugarcoating the polls, Bridget. I am not here to say, we ignore the polls. Of course, people are sending us a message. But I tell you what, Bridget, people are very angry at the Prime Minister and this Labor government, because we have now the lowest, or the sharpest drop in living standards in all the OECD countries. We see that we've all, doesn't matter how much you earn, we've all seen it. We've all got more month at the end of the money, and people are really angry about that. Sure, but hard for you to prosecute that message when the party is so bitterly divided. I mean, you've clearly got some very systemic issues that you have not dealt with in terms of the split between the right of the party and the centre of the party. Well, Bridget, hopefully, if a spill is called over the next 24 hours or so, we can move on and unite as a party, and people want to see that the opposition is united as they take the fight up to the government of the day. That's what people want, and that's what we need to get on and deliver. My focus, and I know that the focus of many of my colleagues, is to do what is right by the Australian people.
Yep.
That's what we're focused on.
Appreciate you having some earpiece issues there, Andrew. Thanks for sticking with us. Look, I mean, obviously you want your focus to be on policy, but I imagine your phone will be running hot today, as will the phones of all your other colleagues. Do you have a sense as to whether Angus Taylor has the numbers to topple Sussan Ley?
Look, I think this leadership challenge, if it ends up being that, has been undercooked. I think it's been unprepared or ill-prepared. I think Sussan has the numbers. I think that the majority of the party room believe that Sussan hasn't been given a fair go, and they want to give her that opportunity to succeed, and I am definitely one of those people.
All right, Andrew Wallace, thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks, Bridget.
Authorised by Andrew Wallace, LNP, Boccarina, Queensland.